What up, what up? This is Ray Grand, your host, and you're listening to The Ray Grand Show, where we talk about redefining a disability and overcoming. I've been paralyzed from 22 years from bacterial spinal meningitis. I know a few things. That's right. Thank you for listening, and let's get to it. Good day, people. Welcome to The Ray Grand Show. We have a special guest, my friend, my disability in acquaintance and friend from the Chi-Town is here to visit with us today. And we're going to have a wonderful conversation about many, many things: disability awareness, disability employment, inter-able relationship, because we're both married. My friend Shannon Maher. How you doing, Shannon?
Hey, good morning. I'm good, thanks.
Yes,
Excited to be here.
Thank you for joining me on the Ray Grand Show. I'm super excited to have you on. How's the weather in Chicago?
It's a beautiful fall day. It is sunny, and I think it's one of our last days, maybe above 70. It's supposed to hit like 72 today, so it's been a nice start to fall for sure.
Good. So Shannon, tell me a little bit about yourself and the condition, because I've been paralyzed for about, I think, 22 years from bacterial spinal meningitis, and I'm not sure exactly. I know you told me, but I didn't really ask the details of your injury or the condition you have.
Yeah. So my case is a little bit different. I was born with cerebral palsy. So in this case, it was mild, and cerebral palsy, for those of you who don't know, is just due to lack of oxygen to the brain at some point, either during like the pregnancy or during labor and delivery. I was born premature, so I was born 10 weeks early. And at some point, I lost oxygen, which caused brain damage that was connecting to the part of my brain that basically operates the lower half of my body. So anything like waist up, I have full function and mobility, but I do rely on a wheelchair primarily to get around. And I've had many orthopedic operations, and I've been through, I'm sure as you have, physical therapy back and forth. So I've seen a lot, and I've met a lot of great people, and I wouldn't trade anything for my journey. So yeah, I was born with it, so I don't know what it was like to, acquire my disability, but kind of just the way that I am and the way that I've always been.
Yes.
So yeah.
So when you say you wouldn't trade anything for the journey, what do you mean by that?
I was
me,
actually
right? Like I deal with a lot of pain. I wouldn't trade the journey for everything that I've gained. However, dealing with pain is not something I like wake up and be like, woohoo, let's deal with this pain.
I think it's really made me into the person that I am. I'm not always, I'm not every day is great with cerebral palsy. There are challenges. There is pain. There is, periods of, oh my gosh, this is really taking over my life. How can I have a full-time job and keep everything going in my life? But not every day is great, but I would say that I'm grateful for my cerebral palsy every day because it's brought me to where I am now in my life. It's given me a purpose in my work. I'm able to everything. The people that I've met, meeting you, connecting with you through Disability In. I work in HR in Chicago for a utility company, Exelon, and I get to drive our initiatives in terms of hiring people with disabilities. So it's really become my life, but also my life's work. So I've just honored to have this opportunity to continue to advocate and talk with you. And yeah, it's really shaped my life. So I can't imagine my life without it. But there are days where, I wish things were easier, but I think that's true of anybody, disabled or not.
Sure, that's true.
We all have struggles.
Yeah, no, that's right on. It's like the attitude of gratitude, and then also um, understanding like nothing is perfect. Like sometimes I think people um, want everything to be perfect because even if, or when I should say, walking or whatever have, that miracle may happen, that there's always some type of obstacle or something that somebody's going through, no matter where they're at in life. Yeah, so I definitely agree. So, Whit, do you remember when we met? Like, do you remember what conference it was? Was it in Texas? Do you remember?
Yeah, we met at the very first conference I attended. I think it was your first time too. It was in 2015 in good old Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. That's right. That's right. Yep, that was my first one. I remember that. I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, that was that. There was something special about that first conference. I think a lot of people were wanting to get to know each other. It was in kind of a smaller setting, and it wasn't like we had great attractions like distracting us like in Vegas.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think it was really special. We all kind of created a special bond and one that carries into today. Obviously, 4 years later, crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. So for those who's listening, so Disability In is a nonprofit organization that connects Dobie's disability-owned businesses with corporations, and also from my end. So I went with Dobie. And so how about you, Shannon? How does that work? And how does the connection of Disability In work for you?
Yeah, so I was sponsored by my company Exelon to attend the conference, and I'm so I work in HR. I work in the recruiting space, talent acquisition, and like I said, we're trying to always be current and driving our employment workforce towards a more diverse and inclusive workforce. And so people with disabilities being the largest minority group, I think is a great space of untapped talent out there. So I was really back in 2015, I was fresh out of college, pretty much. I graduated in 2014. It was my first professional conference. I was representing, my company in my first real job out of college. So you could say I was pretty junior, pretty pretty inexperienced. But I just kind of took it all in that first time. I just remember sitting in the workshops and just kind of taking a bunch of notes and just kind of absorbing as much as I could from the speakers. And also I had a chance to be on a panel with Kyle Mansky and talk about, we were talking about social media and how to use social media for recruiting in spaces like LinkedIn. So yeah, it was a lot of sharing. It was a lot of learning, and I'm still trying to get Exelon to be a corporate partner of Disability In. So I'm still trying to drive those partnerships, but it was beneficial. And I've since been to the conference and seen you. I've been a total of 3 times. So it's definitely great. And we've continued relationships with the organization here in Chicago, and they have national or local chapters throughout the nation.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal. So what do you think why persons with disabilities are the largest minority that are not working? What do you think the reason why? And I know you're doing a phenomenal job in advocating and doing your best to change that. However, what do you think is that reason? Because I know, like when we go to the conferences, it's like close the contracts, and more corporations doing business with disability-owned business on my end. But on the employment end, why do you think? persons with disabilities are the largest minority groups that are not working. I mean, for me, what I think is they're probably unaware, and then also the political arena with the insurance, with being on disability, Social Security, disability. If somebody works for X amount of time, they won't be able to have their benefits. However, most of the time it's accommodations. So if they don't have the right accommodations, they can either get sick or it can affect their disability. Like for me, I'm not supposed to be in my wheelchair for more than, I'll say, 2 to 4 hours. Because if I'm in my wheelchair too long, I can develop a pressure sore, and then a pressure sore could develop an infection, and an infection can develop, so on and so on and so on. And I know everybody's different. Everybody's disability is different. However, what do you think that, and I know that's a broad question, but what's your opinion on that, or if you even have an opinion on it?
Yeah, I do. I think it's multi-layered. The first I would say is opportunity. There's different groups of people with disabilities, and what makes it the largest minority group is that you can enter the club at any time. You can be born with it, you can acquire it, you can have it later in life, so I think it spans across the life cycle, and so that's what makes it the largest. And its disability is non-discriminatory, that it encompasses all races and genders and socioeconomic backgrounds. So we're really a big club.
Yeah.
And I think really the first thing that hinders people from employment space is opportunity. There's different groups, like you mentioned, of people with disabilities, and I think I can speak to, that sort of that group that, has, the means to go to college and upon graduation doesn't really know where they fit in. They're trying to find out who they are, and it really requires some courage and honesty and self-disclosing and having the courage to say, this is the accommodation that I require to be successful in this role. And I think a lot of times they just get looked over, if they don't have an advocate, or they're not great at advocating for themselves, how are they going to break into the corporate world? That's why I think Disability In is so great, because it really allows you to start a network of people who are passionate about our people and hiring them and giving them opportunity. So I think it's a lot of opportunity is the first thing, and self-disclosure, those hardships, but also just companies recognizing that the time is now to hire people with disabilities. Companies are more and more aware of the value and the dependability that people with disabilities can offer the workforce. People with disabilities are 2 times more likely to stay at the company once they get hired, because they're very dependable,
Yeah.
And I think also an area that we're trying to tap into is like neurodiversity and recruiting people with who are on the spectrum of autism into those technical roles. So I think there's many obstacles facing, people with disabilities in employment. But if you can advocate for yourself, if you kind of can hone in on your elevator speech as to why, what assets you bring to the company, I don't think disability should or would ever be an issue, as long as, you're upfront and you address it. But as a young college student, looking back at myself, I was trying to conceal my disability because I thought it was considered a negative, because I thought, oh, well, they won't want to hire me when they see me walking, at the time I was walking, and so I tried to hide it and conceal it based on what I was wearing. I have AFO leg braces. So I just think we've come a long way, and we just got to keep going. Just got to keep down that path of advocating and letting them know it's okay to be who you are. And, companies have coined this term of bring your whole self to work. And I think it's true for people with disabilities as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 1,000%. So why do you think most, I don't say all, but the majority based on the numbers that you discovered that persons with disabilities are dependable? What's your perspective on that?
They're dependable because they've had to overcome other challenges. They're dependable, they're flexible because they know how to adapt in different situations. Just think about you or I. If we go into a room, we have to always be aware of the size of doors, of how we're going to navigate the room. So not only are we thinking, okay, I want to talk to this person, or I want to make sure I do this, but you're simultaneously thinking, how am I going to physically get around? So not only do you have to adapt in every situation, but you have to multitask and be able to compartmentalize different things in your brain all at once, that it's just automatic because you've been doing it for 22 years, So
Yeah.
I think we have to be twice as mentally quick because we're always thinking, okay, how are we going to succeed? How are we going to get around? And then also, how are we going to do what we need to do? So I think we have that mindset of we're going to do what we want to do just in a different way, and we're going to make it happen. So we have like the will and that hard work piece that I think makes us dependable and really an asset to a lot of companies.
Preach, Shannon, preach. That's a really great answer. And also the exit. We're always thinking about the exit just in case of emergency. Okay, where are the exits? 'Cause I always usually, when I enter a room, I usually say, okay, is this the only exit? Subconsciously, for some reason, something in my mind, say, okay, what floor am I on? The elevator doesn't work. How many floors? Boom, boom. How many floors I may have to bump down? Where's the exits? And what is my plan? It's just subconsciously I just think about those things. It's kind of crazy.
Exactly. And you don't think about what a value that is and how many people don't have that skill to compartmentalize their thoughts like that. And also, in addition, you mentioned like the exits and figuring out how you're going to get out, but you might have to rely on other people and ask for help. And, that strengthens your communication skills and your ability to work well with others. So I think those are a lot of the behavioral-based skills. Now I sound like a recruiter, but those are a lot of the behavioral-based skills that we try to look for in throughout the interview that people with disabilities already are acing. It's just give us the opportunity, show us the open door, and we're ready to go, So it's just kind of, that's the battle, is getting through the open door. But once we're through there, it's like a piece of cake.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. That's so true. I didn't even think of the communication skills because it's very important. Like, so my house is accessible, but it's not like 100% accessible. So my wife usually helps me when we're in the garage. There's like this one large stoop, and she usually helps me get up that stoop because I can do it. However, when I'm pulling myself up, like my skin can rub on my chair, and so it's just easier for her to help me. And just communicating that with her when we first got married, and I was like, oh, she's like, okay, I got it. And then now she won't even let me uh, do it on my own. She always makes sure that she helps me. So that's a really great point with the communication skills because my wife can walk and she doesn't have any disability or condition, and so communicating little things made a major difference in her understanding me and understanding what I go through every day. And so
Yeah, for
I'm sure that
sure.
translates into the workforce and entrepreneurship as well, because communication's one thing, but if we really want to tap into it, understanding is another, right?
Oh yeah.
So we can communicate, but I think a lot of persons with disabilities have, not everybody, but however, from a from a I think from the majority, they have a level of understanding because of the pain, right? You know, pain produces perseverance, produces character, produces endurance. And so the level of understanding people, I believe, takes it to another level where it's like, okay, not only is it the person can be a great employer, they can actually care about the people in the company and the company itself as a whole, which is another set of values that are invaluable, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so Shannon, so congratulations, you recently got married as well. Am I correct? Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, we actually made it a year. So
It's
I'm
been a year
still, I
already.
don't know,
Stop playing.
yeah, I guess it still makes me a newlywed. I don't know, but I'm riding it for as long as I can.
Hold on, what? Wait, wait. It's been 1 year already. You're serious? It's been a year.
Yeah, we were married September 1st last year.
You're kidding me. I'm just
Time
completely
flies.
shocked. I've been married a year and a month or 2 months or something like that. And you're telling me, I thought you just got married like maybe 4 or 6 months ago. Why does it feel like it was like yesterday? Wow.
I know, right?
So wow, that's so wow. So how is it being newlywed?
It's good. We're kind of adjusting. I don't know. We're quickly going from newlyweds, I think, fast track onto like the predictable, I dare I say old married couple. I just feel
Yeah.
like we're so, content with our routine. And we recently bought a ranch townhome in the suburb of Chicago. So, we're settling ourselves into the adulting life of owning a home and paying bills and fun stuff that goes along with being married, but we're really enjoying it and just being with each other. And I really enjoy just like making dinner and having people over and just kind of like this next chapter in our lives. I think it's exciting, but I don't know if I told you, but my husband Matt also has cerebral palsy as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, that's so
Yeah,
funny you say that. And I'm happy that she told me that. So on the outside looking in, I'm looking on Facebook, I see her husband standing up. I'm thinking he has no disability. And I know Shannon, so I know she's has a disability or a condition, I should say. Um, and I had no clue. And so shame on me for just assuming and not knowing. And that's how a lot of the times it can work with people. Sometimes people could just look and say, wow, that person is completely fine, and not knowing they may have a condition. Like you said, disclosure before in an employment when someone's applying for a job, they may not disclose they have dyslexia, they may not disclose they have a particular condition, because that condition, um, they may be discriminated upon that the condition, because maybe the lack of understanding, right? um,
hmm
who knows. However, it's it's so important not to just look at someone or something. It could be anything, and just assume um, about that person. Like you just assume, like, okay, boom, like you just have an assumption. And I think that
hmm
we can do that as a people, and not even subconsciously, we don't even realize it. And it's okay, and just apologize, and then you ask questions and you learn, and then we grow, and then we become better as a people versus just assuming, and then assuming it's on the negative and not the positive. Sometimes we look at a disability or condition as a negative perspective, and it's really a positive thing, in my opinion. And it doesn't necessarily need to be, oh, they have a condition, oh wow, I'm so sad. And it's like, no, that
Mm-hmm.
condition produced so many great things for me, and I'm sure you can attest as well, that without this experience in this life, I would not be the person I am today. I wouldn't be doing the things I am doing today, and I wouldn't been in the places of all the places I've been without this experience. So
Yeah, definitely agree with all that.
yeah.
And actually, just a little short story for you. I didn't even know Matt had cerebral palsy when I first met him either, because um, we met online, and we met on CatholicMatch.com, and it was based on like our morals and our faith. And then, as we got to talking, and actually when I met him in person, I looked at him and I was like, oh my gosh, like just the way he was standing, like when you have CP, you know what CP looks like. And I was like, oh my gosh, he has CP. And it just like wasn't even a thing. I don't know. I think what attracted me most to Matt was just like his outlook on life was the same as mine, very positive, very persevering attitude. And it wasn't even really about cerebral palsy. So I think sometimes people, doubt if we can succeed and if we can make it, but we're proving them wrong if they doubted us, and we're proving them right if they believed in us. So it's been an experience, and I never thought I would marry someone who was disabled. I actually hoped I wouldn't. When I was, growing up, I wanted somebody who was normal, who could pick me up when I fell down.
Yeah.
But it kind of works, I don't know, it just works. But
Yeah.
you wouldn't think that's not what you would think of, I guess, when you think of like, oh, she's disabled, so she has to marry someone who's not disabled. But I think every situation and every relationship is different, and I've learned throughout this process that you can't really judge. Like if it works for them, it works for them.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to say that, Shannon, because the same thing when I started to date, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'll date somebody in a wheelchair or have a disability. But then as I, go deeper into my faith and my belief in God, it shifted uh, my perspective to see what really matters the most, and which is the faith and belief system and my morals and my values. And when I got to that point, I was like, you know what, God, I'm open to the right person.
Mhm.
Not not this dream ideology that I made up in my mind. And then as soon as I made that
Mhm.
decision, I met my wife Melanie, and and the rest was history. And so no, I definitely agree with you on that. It's like it's the foundation, building the relationship on those right foundations. So
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And he gave you what you needed.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the connection with that was like when you look at that, the morals and the principles, somebody with a disability or condition like you and I that went through those processes, we're not only great for a company, for a business, I mean for the world, because of the tenacity and the knowledge and the experience and everything that we bring to the table. If we're not the whole table, let's just keep it all the way 100. Yeah, we bring a lot. We bring a lot of value, and that I think it's really truly invaluable. When I really had this conversation with you, it really makes me think like, wow, um, we're probably gonna have to just have the whole disability community start our own companies and start hiring ourselves So if they don't let us have that opportunity, which they are, it's getting better. At least I think it is. Is it getting better as far as the numbers wise? I don't know. You would know more than me as far as like persons with disabilities getting hired in
I
corporations.
would say yes. And, I think as a whole, we're really the last diversity group kind of lagging behind. People got on board with let's hire more females, and they got on board with let's hire more, racially diverse and ethnicity and even LGBTQ group, I think, is almost ahead of disability. So I would say we're kind of bringing up the rear of the diversity groups, but I think the momentum is strong, and really October being National Disability Awareness Month and National Disability Employment Awareness Month, I would say really the momentum is there. It's just gonna, take a while to catch on fire, really explode. But if you're in the disability community, you recognize all that's going on. But if you're not, I think it would be hard to kind of recognize all that is happening. But if you're in it, and if you're kind of involved in the day-to-day of what's happening in the community, you would see that there's a lot going on. Specifically, in Chicago, there's an organization called ADA 25, Advancing Leadership. It was founded by the Chicago Community Trust.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's a leadership cohort of people with disabilities that go through the selection process. And it was created to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So basically, it is a program like what you're talking about, creating disability leaders in the Chicagoland area. I'm actually a current 2019 fellow, and I found out about it through a coworker of mine who was a fellow in 2017. And you get an opportunity to go through this leadership retreat with people local to your area. It's kind of like Disability In, but like local in your area, and more of like a fast-paced short course on disability awareness and knowing your own leadership style. So that's been probably the most empowering and best thing I've done for myself this year. And you get a mentor that's assigned to you to kind of help you through the year and through your journey as a ADA 25 leader.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Because yeah, leadership is one of the most pinnacle things I believe to leading the disability community to that next level. Because like you said, we're on the low end as far as the one of the groups making noise and making it happen. But I think things will change, and I'm hoping we see some changes and some people that are taking a stand and making a difference and getting us integrated in the community, or getting seen awareness in the community, so we could build that relationship and that rapport, and other people could look at somebody with a disability or condition and look at them as their equal. And that would be beautiful. That day would be beautiful. And so, hey, let me offer you a job. Hey, I think you would be great at this. And uh, hey, come to this meeting, versus, oh, it feels so bad. What happened? It's like, just change the mindset of looking at somebody with a condition, um, and seeing them as their equal, versus someone to look down on. And I'm sure there's so many different experiences people have, but I know I had a lot of experiences that were more on the end of feel sorry for me more than they looked at me as an equal. And I'm pretty confident that will change. So Shannon, so what would you say to the person that is in a place where they want a job, they don't necessarily know how to go about getting a job, and they just want something to get them moving forward, to get them in a position where they can be an asset for themselves and their community and their families.
Yeah, that is a loaded question. My goodness. So, I think I'm going to tackle it first by saying, first, before you figure out what you want to do and how you want to like how you want to share your life and work in the world, I think you need to figure out and learn about yourself. And the way that I would kind of be introspective really is like, I'm a fan of making a list. I have to-do lists for the day. I have goals that I want to do. I have running lists. So my first recommendation would be to make a list of things that you like to do, qualities that you have, tangible assets like I'm a good communicator. I'm good at working in groups, or qualities that you have that you feel like sets you apart from other people. And then make a list of like action words or kind of careers or job titles, or I don't know, kind of melding. I would say maybe job titles, and then kind of seeing how you can fit like those qualities and which ones fit well, into a job. And then I would go on the computer and I would work on your resume and really focus on how you can highlight your resume for the job that you're applying to. All jobs have something called KSA, knowledge, skills, ability. So they want to know, do you have the knowledge to complete this job well, to do this job well, day in, day out? Do you have the skills and ability to succeed in this company? So really it requires doing your due diligence and researching companies that have roles that you're looking for. I guess
That
I
was
would start
really, really
with,
good. KSA, I
sorry.
didn't know that. So thank you for educating me as well. That's a good way to put it and remember it. No, thank you for that. Thank you for that. That's a great advice. So last question would be, so what would you say to the employer for the reason they should look into hiring somebody with a condition or disability? What advice would you give them? So say if I'm an employer, it's like, okay, I want to work with people with disabilities or persons with disabilities, and I want to be open. However, what do I do? How can I help? How can I add this asset, or these particular individuals? How can I give them an opportunity to work for my company or XYZ company?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first I would say I'm going to answer the why and then the how. The why of that question is alluded to, reasons we already stated. I think people with disabilities are more flexible, more adaptable, can multitask at a quicker pace, can manage their time more effectively because they've had to do that many times in the past, that they have to manage their time to accomplish what they want to do, just because of the nature of who we are. And they're going to be more dependable, and I'm biased, but I think we're a little bit more hardworking, and we're always, setting the ultimate goal as our, as something to work towards, because I think we've had to work towards goals before in the past, whether it's goals of getting stronger or goals of walking and goals of just being independent. So I think we're no stranger to a goal, and we'll work harder than anybody else to achieve that goal. So that's the why, as to why you should hire people with disabilities. The how is really simple. I don't think you have to create a special position for people with disabilities. I just think you have to tap into the talent network that's already waiting for a job. And the way you do that is through really Disability In. It's through connecting with our Next Gen Leaders program. It's making your company a mentor company to mentor students with disabilities, getting ready to graduate, being there when they graduate, and then hiring them for your internship program or your associate level role in your company. It's being involved in the community and knowing which services and organizations connect you with the disability community in your area.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I agree with you 1,000%. The how and the why is really profound, and when you break that down, it's a no-brainer. It's 2 + 2 = 4. It makes perfect sense, and if it makes sense, it makes dollars. And from a business standpoint, it, it's a perfect business case to say yes, to seal the deal, close the deal, and make it happen. I definitely appreciate um, your wisdom and your knowledge, Shannon, because you definitely have a lot of knowledge and a wealth of knowledge in this particular area. And so I thank you for being on the show and sharing with me and my guests. So I greatly appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great talking with you. It's getting me all revved up to keep advocating in this month of October. So we can't stop now. Got to keep percolating our ideas and making it happen. But yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. So there you have it, folks. That's Shannon, my friend, that continues to make a difference in this world from the Chi-Town. So thank you for listening. This is the Ray Grant Show. Until next time, God bless you guys. Thanks for listening. If you like something that you heard, please leave a review. Oh, one more thing.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Love y'all.